Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, I have Fran Spayne back for another session with me, and we're going to talk about health today. She's a holistic therapist. She works with mind, body, spirit, connection. She puts it all together. And we had a lovely chat last week, and this week we really want to hone in more on the health benefits to using your mind, your body, your soul, your quieting down. So please open up and let's go.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's tell folks how to be healthy.
Yeah. Well, we all know that the stress and the mind can create illness.
Yep.
But we don't really understand, a lot of us don't understand how we can create wellness or what we can do given the fact that we're creating illness.
Yeah.
And how much of our thoughts and our beliefs are creating illness.
Yeah.
So if I have this ache or pain, or if I have this illness or disease, is my thinking creating that? So there's lots of things we can do to create wellness. We can create peace in the body.
Yeah. So you have techniques.
There's plenty of things, and there's like mindfulness is a big thing these days. John Kabat-Zinn,
Yes.
He's everywhere in teaching mindfulness, and mindfulness is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's not the only thing, it's not the only approach, but it's a wonderful tool. So mindfulness brings you into the present moment.
Yeah.
It brings you right here, right now. There's studies that show if you're in the present moment, your immune system is stronger. Your energy is stronger, your blood pressure is lower.
Yeah.
Because what it does, it disengages you from thinking.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking, the thinking is what creates illness, the negative thinking.
Yeah.
So if you can think positive thoughts, which we'll talk about more,
Yeah.
or just be in the present moment,
Yeah.
which is mindfulness, that helps to create a situation in your body where it promotes wellness.
Yeah.
Because when the body's relaxed, it heals itself.
Yeah.
The body is designed to heal itself.
Yes,
if you
it
get
is.
a cut,
Yep.
it heals itself.
Yep.
If you have an operation, a bigger cut, it
Yep.
heals itself.
Amazing.
It is amazing. So
Yeah.
the body is designed to heal itself.
Yeah.
If we can use the mind to complement Western medicine, to sometimes replace it, but I'm not subscribing that we totally throw out Western medicine.
Yeah.
Lots of great
I know.
things. Lots of great
It's
things.
saved a lot of lives.
It has, and it benefits many, many people.
Yeah.
But there's so much more that we can do to empower ourselves by using our thinking, the power of our mind, understanding how the mind and the body connect, and how it connects to our soul.
Yeah.
And how just prayer.
Yeah.
Prayer can bring us back into a mindfulness state,
Yeah.
bring us back into the present moment.
Yeah.
Prayer changes the vibration of the body.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go use one of the analogies I used last week about simple thing, anger.
Yeah.
When we walk
Okay.
into a room, we know when somebody's angry.
Yep.
We can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because when we're having an angry thought, it puts out a vibration that other people can feel. But not only that other people can feel it, every cell in our body can feel it.
Yeah.
So Bruce Lipton has a wonderful book, Biology of Belief. He talks about 50 trillion cells running around in our body, reflecting every single thing we're thinking. So it's angry, mad, happy, glad, whatever it is, our cells are vibrating our emotions. So the emotions come from a thought.
Yeah.
So if we can change our thinking to a better feeling thought, then it'll affect every cell in our body.
And you can feel the change.
You can feel the change. So when you're praying, you can feel that change.
Yeah.
Your cells can feel that change.
Yeah.
So when you're meditating,
Yeah.
when you're thinking positive thoughts, so why not do a daily
Cleanse.
of your mind?
Yeah.
Whether it's through meditation or prayer, but really like create a visualization program for yourself. What I do every day is I say, I'm younger. My body is younger and healthy and vibrant and alive. I am so alive and I'm so happy and I'm so grateful. When I do that, I can feel the chemical changes in my body.
Yeah.
If I start with a negative thought, oh, today's a bad day, and
It's raining.
oh gosh, I got nothing to wear, which is never true.
I know.
my body is experiencing, every cell in my body is experiencing every thought that I think. So why not incorporate a positive program no matter what's going on in your life?
Yeah.
Find something to be grateful for. When you're grateful, it changes your vibration. When your vibration changes, your cells change and your environment changes.
Yeah.
So when I do this program, a training program for nurses, I get medical professionals that come to my training, special training for the mind-body connection. And one of the pieces of information I use is something by Jill Bolte Taylor. You can see her on TED Talk. She has a wonderful book, Stroke of Insight. She was a neurobiologist at Harvard, and she was an expert. And at age 38, she had a stroke.
Really?
And that stroke shut down the left hemisphere of her brain.
Ooh.
The analytical, the like she couldn't dial the phone, she couldn't like put things together. All that was available to her was like the creative, that she could see energy, she could feel energy, but she couldn't analyze what was wrong, or couldn't communicate with people, she couldn't speak.
Did that affect one side of her body at all, or just the...
Well, she was paralyzed.
Oh, completely?
I don't know how much paralysis she had, but she really was like, she never went back to her professional.
Yeah.
But she considered it as a blessing, because when it shut down that left hemisphere, it wiped out all her memory. And when it wiped out her memory, she had no issues from her past.
Ooh.
So all our emotions are created before age 7. That's all our frame of reference for life is. So whether we have anger or fear or jealousy or whatever, it's all old stuff.
Yeah.
It's all old stuff coming up to be healed, if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah.
She had none of that.
Wow.
It was completely wiped out.
Interesting.
So what I love about her story, one of the things I love about her story, was when she was in the hospital, she said she could feel the vibration of the nurses when they came into the room.
Really?
And she could feel whether they're, in the doctors, anybody that came into her room, she could feel from their vibration whether they had her best interest at heart or not.
I bet.
And she had difficulty communicating. She couldn't talk.
She couldn't talk.
But she would even withdraw even further if they weren't invested in her. If they were invested in her, she would try to make a connection with them back.
Yeah.
She said, but the people who weren't invested in her, they just came in and they cleaned the room or shuffled around. Or they talked about her like she wasn't there. She said it actually sapped her energy.
Yeah.
She felt exhausted and tired, and she withdrew even more and wouldn't communicate in any way. But she was feeling their energy. That's what kids do.
Yeah.
Your dog.
Yeah.
So when you're a mother or you have a pet, and you get on the phone and you withdraw your energy from the room, and you're distracted on the phone, what happens with the kids and the dog?
Yeah.
They act up.
Yeah, that's
right.
right.
Because you
distracted.
withdrew their energy from the room.
Yeah.
So the same thing with healing professionals. If you invested in their healing, they can feel that vibration.
Yeah.
They can feel the love. They can feel the attention that you give them. It's really, really powerful.
Yeah. Did this gal have any way of acknowledging them when she felt they were invested in her? Did she have any way of letting them know that she appreciated them?
Over time, she did.
She did.
But in the beginning, she didn't. But she really she wanted them to know that she was in there. And when the doctors and nurses talked to her like she was in there, it helped her to gain strength. When they didn't do that, it physically weakened her.
Yeah.
It was almost like they took energy from her instead of giving energy to her.
Yeah.
It's really powerful. And so
that's interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like maybe they had given up on her and it just took it away from her.
Right.
Her chance for recovery, and she felt that.
Right. So how many times are people sick in comas, or like, like we don't think they're there? Like, they're there.
They're there.
They're there. Their soul is there.
Yeah.
On some level, they can experience and feel the vibration of people who are invested in them. And I remember one time, my aunt was in a nursing home, and she had dementia, and she was really bad. And so when we were kids, my brother stayed with her quite a bit, and he lived in California since he was 18. And when he would, when most of us would go and visit her, she wouldn't recognize us. She'd just lay there, and there was like those low little communication, like eye contact. Well, my brother came. As soon as he would walk in the room, she would go, she would get so excited.
Oh.
So, there was somebody there, like there was somebody in there, and it would stir her in a way that we wouldn't see normally.
Your brother picked right up on it.
She picked up on him.
And each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was somebody in there.
Yeah.
And so, we need to treat everybody, whether it's somebody that's washing floors, or it doesn't matter who it is. We need to treat everybody the same. There's somebody important in there, whether they have an important job or what their brain functioning is, or level of intelligence.
Or if they're going through something and they're in a terrible mood and terrible company, is to just know who they really are.
Right.
And hold to that and give them that.
Right. So we put out that vibration, like when we show that they're important, or we love somebody, or we care about them, every cell in our body is reacting to that.
Yeah.
So our body is reacting to every thought we have and every intention we're putting out there. So it's really helping to heal us when we can be kind to someone else.
That's right.
When we can be loving, because
it comes back.
And it vibrates our cells.
Yeah.
It doesn't come back so much because the idea does not leave its source. So you can't pray for someone.
Well, you're reminded of who you are.
You can't pray for someone without getting the benefits.
That's right.
Because it's here first and it goes there.
Your vision, your projection is what you offer. It's you.
It's what you are.
It's what you are.
It's who you are. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
they say we can't know anybody else. All we can do is give them who we know they are.
Exactly. So there's been so many spiritual teachings about, like, if you raise your own vibration, it'll help the vibration of those around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking in the first program last week about how amazing it is, how far we've come, how many different modes of healing, and how, I don't know, it's just as bad as what we see with how greed rules and war rules. We've got this gorgeous material. We have this gorgeous growth spiritually going on that's just as beautiful. I mean, going in the other direction just as powerfully as what we are privy to.
And so many of our spiritual teachers before us said, pray for your enemies.
Yeah.
And how many of us really do that?
Yeah.
It's all about fighting this and battling that and fighting.
Getting back.
And getting revenge. And it's just like, if we did sit and pray for our enemies, and we collectively did that, we would change this world.
We would.
Yeah.
It's coming.
I really believe that this happened during the Cold War. The Russians were coming. Like, we're going to have this big battle. Remember that? Like, the battle between the Americans and the Russians. And so the Catholics got together and they prayed the Rosary. I'm not saying that we should pray the Rosary, not subscribing to any of it, but it was a mere fact that people all over the world got together and prayed for world peace. Yeah. It was a vibration of peace that they were putting out, and I really believe that that's what turned this around. That's just my belief.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. But the point is that it was the vibration that we're putting out. Yeah. So that's whether you can, and if you can do it yourself, it's powerful. But like we were told, two or more join.
I know.
It is really
It's
powerful.
happening all over the world. People are joining, and
they are.
They're raising consciousness, and they're returning home, and they're just in their own presence, and they know who they are, and they know. Yeah, it's interesting you talk about slowing everything down, and I think one of the advantages to that, if you are in a state of fear, is when you can see what it is, when you slow down enough to actually see clearly what's going on with you. Because sometimes when you get into these little places where you're just, you just know you're in that state, but if you slow down so you can actually call yourself on it and say, you catch yourself. So that you can transform it.
You talk about coming home. So there's we've got a huge segment of the population that came home from war. Yeah. And a lot of them are living in homeless shelters, and they feel disempowered. They feel
Yeah.
disenfranchised. They feel like they don't have a lot to offer now that they don't have that profession anymore. And I went
Yeah.
out and did a program out in Leeds,
Did you?
Massachusetts. Yeah,
Yeah.
out in the Veterans Center
Yeah.
out there
How
for
did it go?
female homeless veterans. It was phenomenal. And I taught them all the things that we talk about and more, like I had a whole day-long program out there. And they're still talking about it. They still use some of the tools.
Oh, nice. How did they
because
feel? How were they? How did they get together? I mean,
it's a homeless shelter
for
for female veterans.
okay.
So it's male and female, but this particular
Okay.
place. So they live in little cottages out in this huge place. It's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
So I offered them a lot of tools and
That
hope.
must have been exciting.
It was great. It was so inspiring, so
Yeah.
uplifting for me.
Yeah.
I do the same thing in men's prisons
Yeah.
because I really believe that if we knew just how powerful we really were, we would have more hope.
Yeah.
We would do different in our life. We would
Yeah.
turn our lives around.
Yeah. If we knew the power of our mind and
Yes. Yes.
what we're here to do, and to find
Exactly.
a special way to do it.
Right.
Everybody has something unique to say and do.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And
the-
that you can give to folks when you do these workshops. You can help enliven them into what avenue would work for them and what
Right.
they can share. We are here to share.
We're here to share. So when I go into the men's prison, like a lot of them feel like they have nothing to offer the world. So if I teach them interviewing skills, if I teach them like how to do a resume, how to dress,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter because they're marketing themselves. Like
Yeah.
if they don't feel important, they don't feel empowered, they don't feel like they have anything to offer the world, then they're not going to do well in an interview.
No.
So I help them dig deep. I help
Yeah.
them understand, just as a human being, they have something to offer, no matter what they've done, what they're.
They must love you.
I love them. So they do. Like as a human being, they have something to offer.
Yeah.
The veterans, the same thing.
Yeah.
And so by being positive about, identifying what they have to offer and who they are as a human being,
Yeah.
and being positive about it and being
Yeah.
able to articulate that.
Yeah, like wash your hair, get dressed, look right, present yourself. This can be done.
Well, it can be done, but even dig deeper and identify who you are as a human being.
So that those things can.
That comes out. It's
Yeah.
not just surface stuff, it's the
Yeah.
inner stuff, and it's being
Yeah.
positive about, who you are. And it really makes a difference, and hopefully it'll make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell our friends that are watching today, you are miracleworks.org.
Work.
Miracle Works.
No, no S.
No S. Miraclework.org.
Yeah.
And you are available for just about anything. Anything anyone could create on manifesting. I mean, groups, teachers, doctors, nurses. You're open.
I'm open. So I do a lot of work with school kids, their parents and teachers,
Yep.
how to turn their life around, like the relationships, how to deal with relationship with the parents or other
Yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
how to better themselves academically and feel good about it, feel more peaceful about it, sports outcomes. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what they want, help to empower them.
Yeah. Could a
Teach 'em-
family get in touch with you? Let's say they have 5 kids and it's not working out,
Mm-hmm.
getting along, there's no peace under our roof. Could you be the mediator? Could you help folks to see positively and to work with each other? I mean, maybe that's a silly example, but
No,
it's just a unique example where that happens.
It happens. It happens in the families. It happens in the workplace. So yes, there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of things people can do
Yeah.
to help with relationships in that way. So, I help people to get more peace, whether it's a church group or boys club or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Get
Lions
more peace.
Club.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever it is your organization, I
Yeah.
can help with that.
Yeah.
And I think that working in groups is always powerful.
Yeah, I love group work. I think it's the best.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we can teach one person one thing, but if they're doing it in isolation, it doesn't have the impact that is if you have the support of everybody else and everybody's doing it together, playing the manifesting game.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can manifest a vacation
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
do it, make it fun.
Yeah.
So that the whole family knows that they do have the power.
Yeah.
I work with low-income families for 22 years actually, and I helped, hopefully, them identify how they could get off public assistance and be, be in charge of their life.
Yeah.
Not feeling like that they have to be victims of the world
Yeah.
and to have to be supported by the system for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And
I love that idea.
Yeah.
That they could break out of that. They don't have to feel
Yes.
that's where they belong just because that's where
Exactly.
they are.
Exactly.
And they're stuck.
Exactly. So the same thing with the prisoners or the veterans,
Yeah.
like, yeah. And the patients, medical professionals, like when I deal with medical professionals, I help them understand the power of their mind so that they can pass it on to their patients.
Yeah.
So I work a lot with people who have illnesses, helping them create a program
Yeah.
to create more wellness in their bodies and
Yeah.
understand the mind-body connection,
Yeah.
and that they have the power to create better selves.
That right there, they have the power.
They
That's the
do.
big message. And folks don't always know that.
They don't.
No.
We depend a lot on the government, the medical professionals, the,
Pills.
everything.
Yeah.
And we lose
quick
our,
fix.
The quick fix. And we lose our power when we do that. We give the power to somebody else.
Yeah.
When we can begin to take back our power and know that so much of it is in our head, so much of it is created by a thought, a simple thought
Yeah.
can create a better life for ourselves, happier selves, wellness,
Yeah.
then it'll go a long way.
Yeah. And it's very exciting when you do the shift, when you actually do turn things around within,
Yes,
just to see
yes.
what happens.
What happens?
It's you learn to really work with it more and more and
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
I mean, it grows on you.
Yeah. So it was like a good example. Norman Cousins is our favorite.
Yeah.
You know Norman Cousins?
I do.
Yeah, your author.
Went to school with his
journalist. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. But he had a very serious illness,
Yes.
terminal illness, and they told him it was terminal illness. And while he was in the hospital, he read. Did you hear the story before? He read that the mind creates illness,
Yeah.
and he thought to himself, well, if it creates illness, why couldn't it create wellness?
Yeah.
So he checked himself out of the hospital, despite doctors' recommendations, and he checked himself into a hotel for 3 months because he could.
Yeah.
But he had people read to him. He only kept his mind positive.
Yeah.
And he watched videos on the Marx Brothers.
Could be.
Yeah.
Marx Brothers.
Marx Brothers,
Yeah.
the old
Yeah.
videos. He watched them over and over and over again. He laughed. He says he laughed himself well. And he wrote a great book, Anatomy of Illness.
Yep.
And he said that he found out that 2 hours of a belly laugh,
Oh, nothing like it.
2 hours of belly laugh, no, so I take that back. 10 minutes, 10-minute belly laugh created 2 hours of pain-free sleep because it produced so many endorphins. So it 200 times stronger than morphine, which helped him sleep.
Yeah. You know what I remember about that book? If it's the same book, the introduction was something about, I remember a surgical situation where someone was being operated on, and
Yeah.
the talk was, you know, well, this guy's not going to make it, and let's sew him up because it's over. Well, after it was over, I guess the guy wakes up and he's fine, and he doesn't speak their language, so he never got the message. And he said, gee, I heard you say I was great. Everything was fine. That's what he thought he heard.
Yes.
I mean, I just thought that was a beautiful story. I chuckled
Yes.
thinking, wow.
This-
And they're all just doing them in. We have
Doing
5
it.
minutes, Fran.
Okay.
So yes.
So the hospitals, I love the hospitals. A lot of them are subscribing to the Prepare Yourself for Surgery programs where the doctors and nurses will actually say positive things during surgery.
Yeah.
Your body is going to have a quick recovery.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You're like, and it's proven like they use less pain medication.
Yeah.
The recovery time is quicker. They're
Yeah.
out of the hospital faster. It's unbelievable. Like they're so powerful.
It's touching to see a very interesting case or a difficult one when you see the whole surgical staff in a circle all just meditating before they start.
know,
It's
or praying.
they're all very touching.
Yes.
Um,
Very powerful.
yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah. Well, you are an inspiration, my friend.
Thank you.
You have been in my life for a long time,
Yes,
and
we
I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
You don't change. How do you do that? It's because you say every morning I feel younger and
Yeah, vibrant
everything's
and alive
vibrant.
and happy and
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you walk into it.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah. I love that expression.
I don't know if it's
I'm
working.
feeling
but
it.
yeah, but you know, let's fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Well, taking care of yourself is critical. That we do. We really do. We are responsible. We alone
Yeah.
have, no matter what,
Yeah.
have got to take the bull by the horns when we're ready, and when we understand, when we learn that we can,
Yes.
which is where you walk in the door,
Right.
where you can teach folks
Right.
of what their powers are.
Right. How
How
powerful
powerful
their mind is.
everybody is, no matter
Yes.
what, no matter
Yes.
what it looks like. As you say, that woman with the stroke.
Yes. Yes. One other quick story is Ellen Langer. She did a study in the 70s where she had people. They put them in a house for a week, and I don't know if we have time to tell the story, but anyways, they only could talk about what it was like for them 20 years earlier. So they put pictures on the wall and mirrors, no mirrors, but so there was a group of them, and what happened at the end of the week, they physically changed. They were almost like 20 years younger.
No.
Yes, like the blood pressure, the pictures that they took were all their physical body signs changed. I mean, Ellen Langer's study, it's counterclockwise, is worth looking up because their mind brought them back to a younger state, 20 years younger, just by being in that 20-year state for a week, for a week.
Yeah.
1 week.
And what an inspiration.
Yeah. Was very powerful.
So Fran, you're miraclework.org. You can be reached. You are in the Acton, Concord area in our last couple of minutes.
Yes.
And you work in hospitals, you work in schools, you work with families. You've worked in jails, you've worked with veterans.
Yes.
Who knows where you're going?
That's right.
Maybe aliens are next.
Well, I definitely learned something there.
Well,
this is great, Penelope. Thank you so much.
You've been a blessing in my life for
Thank
years,
you.
and as I say, you're just growing and changing, and heaven knows when I see you again, you'll have another chapter.
I will.
Knowing you.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a different year for me.
Yes, I think it is too.
Yeah.
It's going to be very powerful.
Yeah.
I know.
You know. The astrologer, you know.
Thank you. I know. Thank you, Fran. And thank you, my friends, for joining me. And again, I'd like to thank Dr. Margaret Elizabeth Teeters-Truth for being a mentor for me in my late teens, which shot me into, frankly, doing Awake in the Dream. So on that note, I'd like to thank you all for joining me today, and I will talk to you again soon.